Give us a heads up, Bud, so we know. If we don't want to, okay.
All right, thank you. The time is 11:13 p.m. And we are resuming open session. The next item on the agenda is number 12, final action on closed session. The final action on closed session is that the board had not come to an agreement.
We did vote yes on something. Do you remember?
We approved the
We
minutes.
approved to get minute thing? So do you have to say that on there?
That's right, my mistake. Okay, I'm sorry, it's late.
And you, okay. not that
Do
I'm
I
saying-
have them?
But you also should say what we didn't agree on, because
No, you're right, because it wasn't just one item. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the executive session minutes for approval and release from November 27th, 2021?
So moved.
was it November or October?
October?
October 27th.
It's October 27th.
All right, I'll do that again.
That's okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the executive session minutes for approval and release of the October 27th, 2021 executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Cindy, would you like to take the roll?
Trustee Derblick,
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Trustee Makula,
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Rosansky, Trustee Olson, Trustee Keene.
Yes.
6 yes, passes.
Okay, there was, no decision was arrived regarding the filling of the trustee vacancy during executive session.
No decision was,
Reached to fill the trustee vacancy.
in executive session, is that what you said?
That's what I said, yes.
Should it
Okay.
be worded differently in your
What do you
opinion?
think?
Well, this is what's going to be emailed. I told the applicants that I would email them again on Friday, with
Oh, what, a statement?
I would just email them, is what I said. I will email you again on Friday. So no decision was reached to fill the trustee vacancy in executive session. And then they're all going to ask me what's next.
That's it, right now we don't
Yeah,
know.
who knows?
Okay.
Yes, we have no idea. We were told we had to vote on it again because of the state. We did, and we were able to come to no conclusion.
It's not over, though, right? They're going to ask.
It can't be over. I don't think, well, right now there is, I think the fact of the matter is, that was the vote. Right now, we don't have anything in place. And as soon as we come up with something, we will. I mean, we can't
You'll
speculate.
reach out to them again. I mean, that's the thing. Are they hanging on, or do they go on with their life? I mean, that's the kind of thing they're
The
going to be asking
process
me.
isn't complete.
Okay, the
but
process is not complete.
Complete.
Okay.
But the deadline will not be met.
I gotta get organized.
The deadline will not be met.
Right, from the Secretary of State's letter that gave us 45 days to
The
Fill the
45
vacancy.
days was to fix the
Okay.
reporting of the vacancy.
All right, my mistake.
Right. Okay, the next item on the agenda is number 13, other. Trustee McCullough, do you have anything to add?
I discussed it earlier. I was talking about the statistics, so that would be my category for others.
Oh, did you need to further discuss it, or did you cover it? I'm sorry.
I think I'm covered.
Okay, thank you.
My main point on the statistics is we haven't recovered from COVID. Our circulation is, if you count original borrowings, it's about half of what it was pre-COVID. We haven't recovered yet. We
Okay. All right, thank you.
don't see any trend in that direction yet.
All right, thank you. Excuse me, could you please refrain from comments at this time? You know, we can't have these disruptions. You're the only person here.
Stop.
Right, so what difference does it make?
No, please.
All right, this is going to... All right, Trustee Schoenfeld, do you have any?
No comment at this time.
Okay, Trustee Rosansky?
Yes. First, I would like to talk to the lack of transparency. I sent an email about EMP on 12/28, asking for a copy of a document that was quoted at the meeting. All of us, I asked for all of us to get a copy. The response to this email came from Carolyn on 1/18. Only 21 days late. On the vacancy, we were told at the last meeting, we were going to all be contacted by our president to discuss how we would handle this. I waited and decided to contact Becky and Diane so I could send an email to our president to get the conversation started. January 8th, I sent the email titled New Board Member to get us started talking. I said the candidates need to be contacted ASAP. January 10th, I received an email response that asked, what pool of candidates are you referring to? Please explain. Which candidate are you suggesting be contacted? And then they were all contacted yesterday. Thank you.
I'd like to respond. You asked for a copy of what I read during the meeting.
You said it was from a document. I wanted a copy of that document.
The document is the piece of paper I read from. So I didn't understand why you wanted what I said. It's on the video, so I just highlighted it and sent it to you. Secondly, I sent an email to all of you before the last board meeting to let you know that the trustee vacancy agenda item would be on the January board meeting. I would be sending out an email to the trustees to request your suggestions for the process. You emailed me first. I responded with questions that I didn't understand regarding what applicants you were considering. I don't recall getting that response.
Because I thought it was
Okay,
quite
so I
obvious.
didn't get that response, but yet you're accusing me of not responding to you when it's, you know, I get it, we all have busy lives, so I sent out an email asking everyone what their suggestions would be. I got a response from Trustee Olson, and I let her know that I hadn't gotten any other emails at this point. As soon as I get them, I would share them with her. I got an email from Trustee Keene, and I shared all the information with everyone. If you would like to communicate, I can only once again strongly urge that you pick up the phone.
No.
Then, you know what, if you're going to wait for me to get to my...
If you can't email me, or if I'm emailing you, to wait 21 days for a response is a
Okay,
little
during
more
the
than
holidays, there was no need to contact you
Okay,
during the
then we move
holidays
on.
for
That's
trustee, for a trustee vacancy position
That wasn't
that
about that.
isn't happening until January. And besides that, I'm unaware of where you work or what you do, but communication always takes place verbally. If you're going to wait for somebody to email you back and forth, back
verbal
and forth,
communication
excuse
I
me, I'm not
had
finished.
was
I'm
a
not
phone
finished.
recording on my answering machine that said, you have to call me in the next 10 minutes. I was out of the house, but I'm going to call her in the next 10 minutes.
Patty, I called you 3 times that day.
Okay.
You left one message.
I
It
left
said, "Call
three.
me."
Doesn't include an argument.
I left 3. Well, you know, I'll tell you the truth, no matter what I say, you all have some way of twisting it. All I can tell
It's
you is,
because
my
you do the
God.
same
all I
thing
can
with
tell
us.
you is all the years I've been on this board, emailing back and forth is the slowest process to communicate. And if that's what you insist on doing, we will continue to do it.
Okay, fine.
And there will be hang-ups or hiccups, and I don't know what else to tell you. So whatever, if you don't want to talk on the phone, if you find it necessary to
whatever.
document what you say, at least let's have a dialogue, and then you can send me an email confirming what you said, but at least let's get the information out.
Fine, thank you.
That's just my suggestion.
Yes, thank you.
Trustee Olson?
The only thing I want to add to that is, when I did email you, I got a message back immediately, one of those automatic messages
Right.
that says I'm busy. Call.
No, it's not what it says.
Well, whatever, that's what it basically means. If you're, expecting a trustee to answer you, I expect that you would have more courtesy than,
I sent you an email.
3 days later.
Well, you know what? When I see my emails, I see my emails. I'm sorry. I work long hours. I mean, like I said, pick up the phone and call me. My cell phone's on me everywhere. But if this is if we want to play the snail mail game, then that's fine. We'll just deal with it. We'll do the best we can.
I don't expect to see the message bounce back to me, that's all. That's all I have to say.
Well, I have a lot of people contacting me, and I at least need them to know that I will get back to them. So that's why I do that. I'm sorry it offends you, but there are other people that rely on some form of response. Trustee Keene?
Yeah, I have a couple things, but just to comment on that same topic to begin with, since we're on it already. The reason that we will communicate with you through library email and not your personal email is exactly that, to have documentation of what you're saying. And as president of the board, you should absolutely be checking and responding to your emails every single day.
Especially from trustees.
Right. On to the next topic. We need to hire an assistant director to help Cindy. She has been doing a great job, but she needs help. So we are down a lot of people. We know that Senator Billy Valen came out tonight, and Senator Murphy also, to ask us to lift the hiring freeze so we can hire people. And the people who are here doing extra work to pick up where the business manager left off or where the assistant director left off, such as Lacey, and I'm not sure if Victoria has started doing the FOIAs yet, but people who are doing all this extra work need to be getting paid extra. Lacey needs to get some money. If Victoria is doing FOIAs, she needs to get extra money, and it needs to be retroactive.
I agree.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
So we need to have that on the agenda for next month.
Definitely.
Personnel matters aren't discussed in open session, so it'll
Okay.
have to be executive
Then
session.
let's put it on executive session.
And actually, that conversation probably should have been with the director as opposed to in public. Personnel matters, as I responded to your email, are discussed in executive session. And so are the conversations.
Okay.
Do you have any others?
Yes.
Okay.
Last month, I asked to have the strategic plan added to the agenda. It wasn't. I was told to address it in other. This
Yes.
is other, so I'm addressing the
Please
strategic
do.
plan. I think it certainly was more important than the security topic that we had to discuss tonight.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
So I'm going to not discuss it that long because there's no point in discussing it right now, but I'm going to ask that, again, you put it on the agenda next month. It's backwards to create a budget without a strategic plan. That one expired. We're way past the deadline for making a new one. It's a dereliction of our duties to not have it. I feel like all kinds of evasion have been going on with a strategic plan, postponing the levy, not filling the vacancy. Evasion, definition of evasion is a subtle device to set aside the truth or escape the punishment of the law, as if a man should tempt another to strike him first, in order that he might have an opportunity of returning the blow with impunity. By refusing to work on a strategic plan or replace a trustee or communicate with trustees on procedure, you are evading and walking an increasingly fine line with the law. It isn't going unnoticed, and it will catch up with you. Please put the strategic plan on next month's meeting. The end.
Okay. Let's see. First item was, I do not expect you to respond to my personal email. Of course, use the library email. I'm saying that email for people who work long hours is not the best way to communicate. And as far as being the president, and I should email you faster. I know you haven't been on
I
the
didn't
board
say
that
that.
long, but
I
the
didn't say that.
the presidents in the past do not, who have all had full-time jobs, do not respond in like immediacy. And many times I was looking for responses from Trustee Spadoni or Trustee Diamond, and Susan Lemke would remind me she has yet to hear from them. She has yet to hear from them. Well, it happens. But only on this board does it seem to be like a point of contention or an issue that we have to, disgrace everyone. If you don't want to call me on the phone, I don't know where you work, but if I need someone in my company and they're not picking up their phone or answering email, or they're not picking up their email, I just call them on their cell. I mean, it's like what you do in the 21st century.
No, not with you. Having a conversation with you on the phone is not documentable, and that's why it won't
Well,
happen
then you
for me.
can send me an email.
And I
what-
do, and I'm not normally
After we-
complaining
I
about the
can't
time.
argue this point. I'm
Yes,
sorry, you have a
please.
suspicious nature, and we're not getting anywhere.
I want to go home.
Okay,
Okay.
well, I'm sorry, we're not finished. The next item on the agenda was your strategic plan, okay? The strategic plan will not be on the agenda next month. The library is not in a position to start discussing strategic plan until we take care of all the major issues that we have going on. We need to get an accounting firm in this library to get the finance department running. I mean, they are in dire straits. We have to deal with staffing. We need to have a discussion. We need information about
These
the
are all
staffing.
problems of your making.
You know what? There's a lot more to discussing staffing than just screaming out comments. There's information that I've discussed with Cindy that I think is beneficial. It's going to be the same information you're going to need when you discuss staffing with the union. We might as well get to it and start working on
And
it.
there wouldn't be a union if it weren't for you either.
Well, I don't know, unions serve a purpose, and if the staff is interested in union, I think that's their decision. We just support it.
Your lack of putting the strategic plan on the agenda is a big mistake, and it's going to come back to bite us.
Okay, you know what, Trustee Keeney Adams, you don't understand the gravity
You love to
Okay,
say those
come on.
words.
of the
Let's go home.
situation in the library right now.
Stop
I mean,
accusing.
we've had
Let's
meetings
go.
in the library that were
Let's move
interrupted
on.
by barging in. We were delayed. Because of not having an accountant, you don't really gravitate or understand.
Excuse me.
You
No,
don't
I don't
understand
understand
the
anything.
All
effect.
inappropriate.
You-
I understand what I
you
need
don't-
to understand.
You don't understand the effect it has on staff. You don't realize the enormity of the FOIA requests coming through and how that's
You don't
strapping.
realize
staff.
that you are responsible for much of what has happened. the
Okay,
past
that's
8
your
months.
opinion. If we don't work
On your
together,
opinion
would
also,
you
we-
stop interrupting?
I
Would
move
you
to,
please
I
move
move
on?
to end the meeting.
No, I'm not adjourning. I'm not finished.
She's not finished.
You know what? You are really
I
out
think
of line.
It's time to move on.
So the strategic plan is not going to be on the agenda next month, but I'm sure as soon as we take care of some of the issues in the library, we can definitely talk about our vision for the future when we can identify staffing and all the other needs that the library needs to bring up to date in order to go in that direction.
Okay, next.
Can I ask one question? Can you please make sure Cindy is very clear on all of the information you tell her that you feel you need before we can go forward pertaining to staffing, so she can then give that information to her staff?
Well, we'll have a conversation and I'll see what she thinks about it. I mean, it's not like a demand.
Well,
The,
it seems to be because you've been making the same request since May.
That's true, I have been, but, you know,
And
there's other things that have come
You
up.
don't clarify what you actually want, and that's why you
Well,
haven't
maybe not to
gotten it.
you, but
Well,
doesn't
I will
exist.
definitely have a
And can
conversation.
we please have a copy of whatever information it is for all of us? So we're all
Well, I think
on the
Cindy
same
requested, I think Cindy suggested that my request be sent to all of you, so that
Thank you.
definitely happened.
So it is January, February, right? And so all of these things do need to be talked about, especially, the budget process. If there's going to be budget workshops, I want to give the staff plenty of lead time so that it's not like, here we are today, and in 3 weeks we need to have a budget workshop. So I think I would like to look down the road as to what is going to be expected so that staff have a long lead time to prepare.
I agree with you.
Staffing is part of budgeting, strategic planning doesn't have to be, a pie-in-the-sky plan. We have resources, how we spend them is the strategy. Strategic planning is about where the focus is going to be on spending the money for next year. It ties into budgeting, it ties into everything.
It ties into
So
the
it doesn't
pandemic, it
have
ties
to
into
be-
where are we headed.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be sitting down and coming up, with a fantastic new plan. But
Oh,
we
I
need to
agree.
have something in place that that is guiding the entire process for the next 6 months to get to the end of the budget and appropriations process. And last February, the salary schedule update was on the agenda, as was the increases for the staff that were to be budgeted. That was on last February's agenda.
Salary schedule from the state?
No, the salary schedule for the library.
Okay,
An
not the
update to
state
the
one.
salary schedule was on last year's February agenda, as was the amount of money the staff would get in raises that would be put in the budget for raises for the next year. That was decided last February. So, if you just keep kicking it down into March, the budget meetings start in the library in March. So we have to have
Hopefully.
some idea. Every year, they do start in March. That's historical. They start internally in March.
Do they really?
Yes,
Wow.
they do.
Because it takes us so long to get that, wow.
Well, it's a long process.
Well, we need to, I think that process needs to be reevaluated.
Well, we
because
have to do
the
it. It
outcome-
has to happen. It can't happen later. These things have to get
Oh, I'm
started.
not saying they can't happen, but before we go into strategic planning and before we have another board meeting, and I am told that we are not addressing the issue with shortages in staff, we need to start addressing that. We've
Well,
asked for
the
information by department
information.
to identify where the issues are. Some places aren't servicing patrons. Then everybody was off on vacation or whatever in December, and I get an email from a trustee blaming me that there weren't enough staff taking care of one of the departments. Then I find out everybody's on vacation. I mean, I get it. I know that people have left, and this is a great opportunity for employees. There are many options, so I could see why some of our employees have bettered themselves or whatever other reason they left. But we have got to come up with some information here. We keep putting it on hold, and the public keeps coming here complaining that we're not doing anything about it. Like I said before, like I said,
The public has a perception and the public has their opinion. They don't necessarily know what's going on inside the library
I don't
and
either.
with the staffing.
I don't either. I
So
don't
you
know what's
don't
going on.
start with staffing, you start with the plan. You start with the plan and what the objectives are going to be, where you're going with the library. And then you figure out how many hours and people you need to do that. You don't start with the people and work your way back up.
Cindy, we need to identify each department, the
You
number
have
of
that.
Are you
staff.
not
You have it.
listening to your
Okay,
director,
because
your
we even
executive director?
we even had the senator here telling us that we need to do something about that, and I can't even respond.
What does he know about a library? What
Well,
does
the
he
whole
know about this
The
library?
entire union was behind him.
Meeting's over.
So I'm just saying, I want to be prepared to answer these questions, explain the situation. Because it seems to be an endless argument.
Yes, it does seem to be that.
So, I mean, I can't do anything without gathering information. And I know you've got a lot going on, and there are other things, but
Look,
we can't
you
move
can
forward.
start by looking at last year's information. You can start there,
For what?
for last year's budget.
I'm not worried about the budget. I want to know what our staffing situation is in each department. I was told twice, a director or a supervisor canceled her programs because she doesn't have staff.
Who
Then I
told you
was
that?
told,
Who told you
it was a
that?
comment in a meeting. And then I was told, or actually it was the supervisor. And then I was told, well, no, the programs weren't canceled, they just weren't scheduled. Well, what does that mean? I need to understand that.
Pretty straightforward.
No, it's not straightforward. We're not having programs because where are the shortages? What positions? I mean, why is it so hard for a department to identify their staffing issues?
It isn't.
That's all I'm asking. So we can
That's my
start
job.
moving.
That's my job.
I know it's your job, and I'm asking you to please share that information with us so the board
Can
can
do
have
what?
an idea of what's going on.
What? I'm telling you
Because a
what's
couple
going
of
on.
people left doesn't mean the whole library can't provide services.
Nobody
There's gotta
said
be-
the whole library cannot provide services. You
That's
are,
all I'm hearing.
Well,
Okay, here's the part, maybe
you're
what I'm
listening to the
hearing-
wrong people.
I know, well, public comments, I mean, there's,
They
my
are
reputation,
outsiders.
it
They
doesn't
do not
matter.
know what's
It
going
doesn't-
on in the library.
According to these trustees, we should vote based on these outsiders. So I'm saying, since the outsiders have such an influence on what we're supposed to be doing, not that I agree with that, I at least want the information so I can make an informative statement. I have to be aware of why these departments aren't able to service patrons. I have to understand why there's a line and people are still waiting. You know, people could be on lunch, but I mean, if I can't say any of this, I have nothing. I just feel like I need information. I mean, it's a hot topic, and now we've got, representatives coming out here.
All right, are you done? Are we done?
Yes.
Well, we would have been done, but they walked out, so this is the most,
Well,
do I have a motion?
the number one thing that you need to figure out is Robert's rules, so you can run the meeting. I'll run the library, you run the meetings.
Well,
That'd be a
Robert's
good
rules
place to
didn't get
start.
me anywhere today. By the way, I do want to read these public comments that I wasn't allowed to read before.
You're going to read them now?
Yes, these are the responses to the public comments that have been repeatedly brought up, and I think the residents need to understand some of the information that would help eliminate the anxiety and the misinformation they're receiving. The first issue was the roof. The roof will collapse because it was not fixed. That was a public comment November 17th. Again, on December 15th, another patron said, "You are telling the community lies about the roof. Fix the roof. Building repairs won't pay needed repairs." That's another comment.
I don't know that this will be in the video. I don't know that you have a meeting.
Pick up the video, she's not taking notes.
Pardon me? So it's not going to be on the video?
You don't have a forum.
The video's recording, you can just keep talking, and then when you're done, that's it.
About what? Well, no, we don't have a quorum, so it's over.